We are live with episode 6 of Do the Move. My name is Chad. We got Sean, Rich, Jonathan, George, Bob, and Joey here tonight. Going over kind of pretty normal show for us this week. Going over we've got Dynamite, Rampage, Battle of the Belts, Smackdown. We're gonna be looking into the Impact shows happening this weekend that we are going to. It'll be my first Impact show, so I'm pumped about that. And then we got Chef's Kiss and Bone to Pick. So, gentlemen, who wants to start with some AEW reviews?
Woohoo! Who was our first match?
Let's see. I actually took notes this week because I watched Dynamite today. First match on Dynamite was Jay Lethal versus Orange Cassidy. Let's have Joey start this one off. Let's hear what he's got to say about this.
This was the best Orange Cassidy match since he wrestled Pocket Revolution 2020. Here's why. I don't think, and you all are welcome to correct me if I'm wrong here, I don't think I've heard OC audibly talk as much during a match ever. He was saying, like, ask him right away when he got a headlock. He was talking to the ref that he might have been hurt later in the match. Little things like that. Psychology, top notch here. Selling that leg consistently. Lethal kept going for it. This, to me, I don't know if we really talked too much about the Wardlow match he had for the TNT title out of the blue a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now. But this, to me, did a much better job of getting three guys over instead of trying to get OC and Wardlow over during that match, and in my opinion, it not doing a very good job. I thought this built up to the Battle of the Belts match very nicely. OC's best match in terms of psychology selling and a little bit character development from him for once during a match. People are welcome to jump in on the OC match. Chad, you wanted to hear my comments. Did my comments shock you, Chad?
Surprisingly, yes, they did shock me a little bit. I guess you're kind of right in saying that's his best match. I did pick up on the speaking during the match as well. He's usually silent, doesn't say a damn thing, but he's like, "Oh, my knee," and then I forget what else he said.
He talked at least 3 times on my part that the camera at least picked up on, and they even mentioned it on commentary that OC is usually stoic, and this time he actually was talking to the ref or making little jokes verbally this time.
Right.
Rich, did my comment shock you?
Everything. No. No.
Well, what did you think about the match, bud?
No, honestly, no. I would agree that this was the top tier match between Jay Lethal and Orange Cassidy. The way that he was selling his knee, especially like the psychology in the match of how because we've never seen Orange Cassidy, and I think this is going along your lines, Joey, be serious. This is the first time he was actually like serious, like in the ring, speaking with the ref, saying like, "Hey, I might be hurt." Like, it all made sense, and I think that's why you're giving him props. And I've always liked Orange Cassidy. I'm on the record saying that I'm a fan of Orange Cassidy. I love his gimmick. But ultimately, I think this was one of the top tier matches for him. Even though he ate the pin, but it made sense for the Battle of the Belts. Other thoughts, Chad?
I did want to say it's nice the last couple weeks we've seen, well, actually this week with Dynamite and Battle of the Belts. Obviously, this match kind of leads into some other things with Jay Lethal, but the use of the figure 4, I feel like he's been doing that a lot more now, right after that Ric Flair match. So that was pretty cool. And obviously the post-match interaction with Wardlow, which leads into Battle of the Belts as well. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Other thoughts, gentlemen?
On OC or Dynamite as a whole?
Wow.
Oh, I was just going to move on to the next match.
Yeah, that's what
let's get it.
The next segment, I should
segment,
say.
Yeah.
Next segment was Cole and the Undisputed Elite coming out. Cole basically talking about how he's a great leader, how the Undisputed Elite are the top guys, basically. He also said he's not medically cleared yet. So that was kind of surprising, probably just to work. But then when it came to the trios or mentioning the trios titles or who's going to be going up against them, he called out the Bucks for not choosing Bobby Fish to be their third person, and then they started beating him down. So looks like George has got something to say about that. Why don't you go ahead, buddy?
All right, thank you. So this was not unexpected as far as what was going to happen. I think everybody knew this was coming, especially once they said, when they said like, oh hey, the Undisputed Elite are all back together and they're going to do a whole promo. Yeah, that's when we all knew what was up. But admittedly though, this needed to happen, and I'm glad it happened sooner than later. Obviously Cole and Red Dragon getting away from the Bucks is going to be a good thing for them. It'll prop Cole up as the super heel that he needs to be, and then Red Dragon being his little cronies. As far as the Bucks, obviously they're going to move on and do whatever the Bucks want to do, which if they want to get in this trios thing, they'll most likely get involved with Hangman Adam Page, as it doesn't look like Kenny's going to be cleared just yet, and I don't see them really doing anything with Brandon Cutler. So it's far, so it was a good turn. It needed to happen. I just wish it wasn't so blatantly obvious that it was going to happen, but at the end of the day, it made some little kid cry, so I guess it works.
It's like Sean had something to say about that. Why don't you go next, bud?
I agree for the most part with everything George was saying. It's just, God, they're so bad at like where they're going to how they're setting up their show's cards. He calls themselves top guys. Top guys end the show. This segment should have happened at the very end to intensify like the betrayal and stuff like that. They threw it in the second segment of the show. It just really got under my skin. I don't know if this is going to help UE with their momentum. I don't know where it's going. I just feel everything's just lacking direction altogether for the show. I hope it ends up for the best, but right now I'm kind of in a gray spot.
It's really interesting that you brought that up, because I was kind of thinking today about how like each segment works on like Dynamite and Rampage. The nice thing about Raw and SmackDown is you kind of have a general idea of what's happening at the beginning of the show. Now, granted, they kind of preview next week's show like a week ahead of time, but there's no like ordering or layering that's like consistent.
No organization whatsoever.
Yeah, and that's what's really confusing. Like, you're definitely right. I feel like that should have ended the show, because it's like a, nail in the coffin for Undisputed Elite, But yeah, that's definitely something they should definitely get better at. I mean, there's no question. I mean, everything's just kind of mushed together on every show they do. Other than pay-per-views, because pay-per-views you have like the little vignettes, or you'll have the video packages go on between matches. We don't really see that much between matches or segments on Dynamite and Rampage, so hopefully they clean that up. Rich, why don't you go ahead, bud?
Yeah, so with this segment, I would agree with Sean as far as the pacing and the way that these segments are set up. This was an awkward spot to have the Undisputed Elite come into, and there is a lack of direction, so I definitely will agree with you on that. I'm just curious to see how this transpires, especially with Kenny might not be medically cleared, and then Hangman Adam Page coming out being buddies with the Young Bucks. So like, where does the allegiance happen? I mean, I guess it's good storytelling if you're watching BTE like consistently, but I know a lot of the casual fans aren't gonna watch BTE or look at social media. But all in all, it's interesting to see where this goes. The little kid crying was the icing on cake. I'm sad that they had to cry over the Young Bucks, but could have been someone else better. But that's my thoughts on it. Go ahead, George.
All right, so I just wanted to touch on something you guys had mentioned here was the layering and the pacing of the show here. Something that AEW seems to like to do here is they like to start with a hot match, get the crowd excited, and then end on a point, which is end on a match ending with some kind of bit, either setup for the next week or the setup or the conclusion of a match, a big main event. I don't think having this segment end the show would have been the best idea, to be honest. However, I do understand you guys' point here. It should have been something that either maybe led off the show, which could have been fine because we don't, although I'm generally against opening with a promo segment, this is something I could have, given an excuse to. This could have also just been a mid-show break, honestly. Just to give everything time to relax before we set up for the second hour, and then go from there. So, but yeah, I do agree the layering and the pacing does need a little bit of work here. And I'm not going to lie here. This is a bit of a hot take already here, but the show has changed in pacing quality since Cody Rhodes left. And I think that's starting to become a glaring issue with AEW. They have not found a way to fill that void that he left, and they really need to figure that out before it becomes too late to fix.
Yeah. Change my mic again here. Mic keeps muting. Yeah, definitely. Things have gotten weird after Cody left. I know Cody's been gone for how many months now?
I think since like December.
Yeah, you're kind of right, and it's taken I think me a while to notice, but something about everything's just kind of weird without him there. So I don't know. We'll see. I know they just announced some new moves behind the scenes for like talent relations and stuff like that. I don't have I'll have to look that up here in a couple minutes to see, but maybe things will start to get better. Who knows? I mean,
think
that's
it was
just
Sanjay Dutt was promoted to do talent relations, and a couple other people.
Yeah, I think Shivani was one of them too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Stuff like that. Maybe maybe they'll hire writers or something. Or I know TK is pretty firm on him booking everything, but
They should hire Okada.
God damn it, Rich. Should
Be the weatherman or to
known
be
those.
what, Rich? Weatherman or what's his job?
Rainmaker.
I'm sorry, Jonathan. Go ahead.
Anyways, I just wanted to say a couple highlights for me. Kind of watching Dynamite. I was doing my own thing too, but a couple things I pointed that stood out to me was obviously the Adam Cole turn. Ethan Page's promo was really fire. But probably my favorite match, because I didn't watch the whole Dynamite, was definitely the women's tag team match with Toni Storm, Thunder Rosa, and Hayter, Britt Baker. They put on a phenomenal tag match. It's hard hitting, and I just wanted to say it was an awesome match. If you haven't seen it, go check it out.
Right on, man. Right on. I just had notes on everything because I tried to be like Bobby this week and be prepared for at least one of the things we're going to talk about. After the Undisputed Elite saga, I guess is what you could call that now, they did have a Moxley promo on his match that will be upcoming at the pay-per-view. Basically says he doesn't give a shit who wins. Doesn't matter who it is, if it's a friend or a foe. He's basically out for blood. And one thing I did write down as a remark on that was he said, BCC will make Heart Dungeon look like a daycare. I thought that was pretty nice line there in that promo. So I think it's this week we find out who his match is going to be at All Out. Might be wrong. Joey, go ahead.
Final thing that I'll say about this, I think it was Sean that mentioned I don't even want to call him a gentleman. I'll say this Southern psychopath on the group chat. A old Mancer, Mance Warner, someone that a good chunk of us have seen in person before on GCW shows or other independent shows around the Chicagoland area. I really like this guy. I just hate that they keep having these guys that really haven't earned title shots face Moxley, and Moxley, of course, has to bleed intentionally or not for it. But talking about Mancer, I think he's somebody that, even though the roster is bloated already as is, he's somebody that they can and should sign. Nobody is like him on AEW. And especially since the Briscoes, for some reason, can't be allowed past the entrance door to TNT or TBS studios, Mance is a guy that stands out because he's so different. Nobody is like him. He's not the flippy doodah that I think AEW gets a bad rep for. He's someone different. And whether he goes to ROH to team up with people that are like him in the Briscoes or is alone, I just really liked his promo. I've never heard somebody mention pay window or pay window, as he says, since Dusty Rhodes, seemingly. So Mance Warner, props to him. And I hope I see more of them. JT, I think your hand was next. Go ahead, bud.
Yeah. Quick shout out to Mance Warner. He did a good job out there facing Mox. I do kind of feel bad for, fans that probably are not familiar with Mance Warner, from, MLW. I saw him first time at Freelance Wrestling. You give him a microphone, I feel like he can win over the crowd and make everyone just have sympathy for him or just be on his side. Right. But, we didn't really have a chance for him to, there's a promo package, but I feel like a lot of fans watching might have been a little confused who this guy is. Right. But that's just some thoughts on that, but it's cool to see Mance Warner on there. So, go ahead, George.
All right. So, I'm going to admit something here. I'm not very familiar with Mance Warner. I've only seen him a handful of times. Mostly in AAW, which is our local wrestling promotion, support local wrestling. And as far as the vignette that they showed for AEW, it looks like they're trying to package him something like a cross between like Stone Cold Steve Austin and like Larry the Cable Guy, I guess. But yeah, no, he's definitely an interesting character and definitely a unique presence should they decide to bring him into AEW. And I think he's the kind of guy that fans will rally around, especially got, an older generation who's a little bit more familiar with, like I said, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think he has the ability to connect with those types of fans. And that's a very interesting play by AEW to bring him in. But yeah, I'm curious to see what he would bring as far as, as far as like where he would land in the card. And I just hope they don't limit him to being like a death match wrestler. That's the one thing that kind of concerns me a little bit. I don't need another Darby Allin, bleeding everywhere thing, or another John Moxley. Give me somebody with some character, and that's what I want out of him. So yeah, I'm curious to see what happens. I hope this wasn't just a one-off. And let's see where it goes. The fact that he won that battle royal at Ric Flair's last match, that speaks volumes to how he's perceived on the independent scene.
Right on. Boom. All right, we're gonna backtrack just a little bit back to Dynamite because I had like 3 pages of notes here. After that, and I'm already losing track of where the hell I was. Let's see. So we had the little Christian segment where Jungle Boy, who's not supposed to be backstage, nearly runs him over. That was pretty wild. We did have the Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter versus Thunderstorm match. Like John said, that was
Rainmaker.
Oh God, pretty damn good match there in itself. There was one point in the match that I did just kind of write down where Tony forgot that she had been tagged in and she went to get out of the ring and then she's like, oh wait, and just kind of like laughed it off. I thought that was pretty funny. But miscommunication did cost Thunderstorm the win there. Tony was doing her little moves on the turnbuckles there, and Britt had moved out of the way and got into Thunder Rosa, in which Jamie Hayter ended up pitting Tony.
With what move? With what move, Chad?
I don't remember what it's called, so I'm sorry. I don't know her moves. I haven't really watched her.
I mean, it's a lariat, but we call
the
it
lariat.
Something about water, Chad, falling down from the sky.
Enlighten me.
It is a ripcord lariat.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, George, for the
also
PC
known
version.
as what, Rich? Also known as what, Rich?
Oh God.
You screamed so loud.
I should have known the Rainmaker. So that was pretty wild. Trying to read my fucking notes here. Oh, Eddie had a quick little segment on interrupting Sami and Ty's wedding bullshit.
Congrats on your nuptials.
Said receipts coming for Sami, so hopefully we see him get his ass kicked soon. Going into the Hobbs match, Taz had confirmed that Team Taz is over. They are donezo. No more. Very disappointing, because I did like the momentum that Hobbs and Ricky had, but obviously they're going to be going at it one-on-one here pretty shortly. After the match, Ricky came out and then attempted to attack Hobbs, but got dropped fairly quickly and ended that segment. After that, we got a Miro vignette yet again, this time going over what happened in his last match. Looks like him and Malachi Black are going to have some sort of feud going on here. Then we had Darby's segment, which he had tattooed his hand for the Brody King match that's incoming. Kind of a weird one, but Darby Allin-esque. Next, we had Christian Cage versus Matt Hardy, in which JR was on commentary. Christian Cage obviously took the win in that match. And then we had Luchasaurus come out after the match to distract Christian Cage, in which Jungle Boy attacked Christian from behind, in which Christian ran away. Still really confused on the whole Luchasaurus deal, because he's still coming out in the all black, like heel-esque gear. It's very confusing. I was kind of hoping, while Jungle Boy was talking shit in the ring, wearing his Christian as a pussy shirt, which was actually really funny, by the way, that he was just going to hop in the ring and like attack him from behind. Cause it kind of seemed like that. The way they had the camera set up, it was just literally Jungle Boy in the middle of the ring, and Luchasaurus was like slowly walking to the edge of the ring. So I kind of thought they were going to do something there, but nothing ended up happening. George, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I just want to touch on Luchasaurus's thing really quick here. He was long overdue for repackaging. I mean, let's face it. You can only be, cute, dinosaur guy for a long, so long before the act gets stale. So I think this was a natural progression for making him, keep the gimmick a little bit, but also repackage him as a, more of a intimidating force. So I'll give them credit for at least doing that, and I hope that they continue to do something with him. I hope that that he does have some sort of singles push eventually, once this whole Christian thing is done.
Like we mentioned, he could be the Kane of AEW. Granted, Joey wants him to be his own guy.
Brian wants that.
Brian,
you and I
Brian,
wanted him to be their version of Kane.
Very, he's got so much potential as a big man. You're right. Seeing him in a singles run would be really cool. After that, we had Daniel Garcia throw some shade at Bryan Danielson. Called himself the Dragon Slayer. I think that was kind of a callback to Drew McIntyre, if I'm correct, Joey, with
that was more of the Beast Slayer. I mean, Anna Jay calling herself the Queen Slayer for putting a sleeper hold on Brandy one time, so I guess it fits with AEW.
What about the band Slayer?
Okay. I was gonna say it's more.
I don't think Daniel Garcia knows that, to be fair, Rich.
I don't know.
He's younger than me.
I was gonna say I thought it was more of a Seth Rollins Kingslayer thing.
That too. Yeah, I knew it was one of the WWE things. I just remember watching those matches with Joey, Brock, and Drew. So I thought for sure Joey would be on the same page with me on that. Then we had Ethan Page coming out to the ring, kind of bitching about how he's being overlooked, and then we had Stokely Hathaway come out, whisper in his ear, and then they left. So we'll see what happens with that. George, you wanted to add?
It's about time they did something with Ethan Page. This dude's been sitting around doing jack shit. He was irrelevant with Scorpio Sky and American Top Team. It's nice to see him finally getting to the point that even JR has said we have not seen the best of Ethan Page yet, and hopefully we finally do. He's got the potential to be a top heel in this company, and he definitely needs a chance to just get the ball and run with it.
Sean?
I thought Ethan knocked it out of the park. I look forward to seeing what they do with him. I just have, the way they produced the segment was kind of weird with Stokely. The entire time he was talking, Stokely was standing right behind him, silent. I would have probably had Stokely walk down to the ring mid promo and confront him while he noticed him, rather than him just act completely oblivious to a guy standing behind him for like 2 minutes in the ring. I also wonder whether this is going to lead to, is Stokely making 2 factions, or is he making a whole stable with the baddies and Ethan and Moriarty? It's just weird, but Ethan, phenomenal.
Yeah, I think he's really a guy that doesn't need the help, though. I think he's one person who can definitely do it on his own. Doesn't need a faction. I mean, we've already got enough factions as it is. They really missed an opportunity to pin him against Scorpio Sky when he had the TNT belt, because I think that would have been a good feud and kind of would have ended the whole American Top Team dynamic there as well. So interesting to see what he does with Stokely and however they mash those groups together now. I mean, we'll see what happens. But moving on, we had the main event, the dumpster match between the Ass Boys.
Second main event.
Second, yeah.
Because there's an actual main. There's another main event.
Oh, that's right. Okay, my bad. See, I took notes and I can't even read. Yeah, we had the dumpster match. What'd you guys think about that?
I hated it.
Kind of a random one. Very quick too, I feel like. There wasn't a whole lot in
Bob's
the ring.
here. Bob, I know it's something to say about it, but if he's not here, then it's too bad for him. But I know Bob kind of liked it at least. Sean, if you're gonna add anything, go ahead. I feel like you're gonna unmute.
I'm just kind of burnt out on gimmick matches.
Yeah. Well, that and yeah, you're right. There's really no counter argument to that. There's a lot of gimmick matches that they do, and it's like every 2 weeks there's a gimmick match.
It's starting to feel like every week.
Yeah, definitely. There's always some like
it's every show. It feels like every show.
Yeah. George?
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't anything special as far as, gimmick matches and, hot feuds go, but at least it was something to, give a bigger spotlight to the Acclaimed and really solidify that face turn for them. So if nothing else, it at least did that.
All right. Then final.
Real quick, my bad.
Go ahead, Bob. Sorry.
About the dumpster match. I actually enjoyed the match. I thought it was a fun little match. A little callback to when Billy and Road Dogg participated in the match back at Mania 14 against Mankind and Chainsaw Charlie. But I thought it was fun. I get it. Too many gimmick matches. But like George said, at least if they put over the Acclaim, and hey, at least the Acclaim are now another step closer to, hey, hopefully tag team title shot in the future. Who knows? But yeah, carry on, guys.
Good stuff there, Bobby. Yeah, main event, we had Wheeler Yuda versus Jericho, with the stipulation that if Yuda wins, he gets Jericho's title shot against Mox. My thoughts about this is there's no chance Yuda was going to win that match. Just with everything going on with Jericho and them, spewing the whole second match between them, because they had the the first match, right? Second match for the title, because I think Mox took the title off of Jericho, correct? Yeah. So it was an all right match. I mean, there's nothing insane. Jericho hit a low blow on Yuda while Aubrey was turned around. Pretty awkward turnaround, portion of the match there. And then put Yuda in a lion tamer for the W. So George, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing with Jericho just I really, really, really was pulling hard for Yuda in this match. I really wanted to see him finally get, another big push into the real main event scene. But I understand he's still young and there's plenty of time for it. And I really think that it would have been a more interesting, dynamic to have Moxley versus Yuda, who, because Yuda, went toe to toe with Moxley and really took it to him to get into the Blackpool Combat Club. So I would love to see, that match happen sometime down the line, as just sort of not so much a passing of the torch, but more of a solidification of Wheeler. And to be fair, we've seen Jericho versus Moxley. We've seen, what Jericho is capable of, and there's really not going to be a lot of shocking, things that happen when he faces Moxley eventually. The only thing is, I do understand that they probably played this match a little bit safer than they probably would like to, just because Jericho was dealing with a legit broken nose still. So that's probably why it wasn't, the spectacle that we probably were thinking it was going to be.
I didn't even know that, so thanks for adding that.
Yeah. Yeah. Final thoughts on the main event. Yeah. No way in hell that Yuta was winning. I mean, if he would have got the shot, it'd been fourth time against Moxley, and he would have had to win. He would have been AEW champ. Like, you can't just lose 3 times and then it's like, oh, fourth time's the charm, because that's what the announcer said. It's like, oh, he'll get his 4th champ. It's like, no, that's not gonna happen. No chance in hell that's gonna happen. Jericho, I get it. I mean, I'm curious to see what happens next week. Like, does Jericho take the belt and then we get CM Punk to come back, or is Moxley retain? I don't know, like, because we'll see.
There were reports that Punk is probably not going to be at All Out. Doesn't look like he's healing up that well, so I probably wouldn't expect anything major to happen at All Out with a title change. So it's kind of a bummer, because we're going to be there in Chicago, hometown crowd for Punk. That's probably what they were pushing for, but who knows? We'll see. Maybe he'll magically get better tomorrow, and we'll get something wild to happen. Sean?
It's just starting to feel more and more like every Moxley match is defending the title, and like each challenger is just someone to help legitimize his run.
Pad his stats.
Yeah, pretty much. Jericho is just gonna be another statistic for him in the end. And overall, I don't like JAS. It's pretty cringe. Earlier on in the night, Anna Jay kind of did her thing, and I was just over it. And then you had what was it, Daddy Boy Magic Mike and Cool Hand Luke.
Daddy Boy Magic Mike is a great name, Sean, but it's I want to say it's Daddy Magic.
I don't even know what their new names are. I don't.
So you want to type?
Angelo Parker and Matt Menard, by the way. Angelo Parker is the guy trying to be a greaser from The Outsiders. That's what I remember.
The whole faction just seems corny to me.
That's the point of it. It's just like a total knockoff. It's like sports entertainment, shit on WWE some more. Like that's just Jericho's like humor. It's okay. It's just annoying, Like it's just
Jericho's like turning into Matt Hardy, bringing out every version of himself each week.
Oh, I did want to add to that. Matt Hardy came out to the Hardy Boys theme. I don't know if he's been doing that lately, because I don't remember the last match I watched. He has? Okay. And
with his brother Jeff. Get well soon, bro.
Yep. Hopefully we see Jeff very soon. One other theme that I did want to bring up. Did they change Hobbs' theme a little bit? I think I
And
feel like it's
Yeah,
Wardlow's,
they-
and
Wardlow's is
Wardlow's.
different too. Yeah, there's a couple
Hobbs,
theme
Warlow,
changes.
and then Orange Cassidy. Well, Orange Cassidy's been a couple weeks, but
Yeah,
those
his has been
are like
Jane for a couple weeks
Yeah.
now.
yeah. So, but those are the newer songs.
Got it. All right. Well, I guess we can move on to Rampage real quick. I've just been watching it on the side here because I didn't have enough time to do that today. Matches we had: Swerve in Our Glory against Tony Nese and Josh Woods. Madison Rain made her AEW debut against Layla Gray. Then, as we mentioned before, Mance Warner fighting interim champion Jon Moxley. They did kick off the show with the Mox match. Like you guys had mentioned, Mance is kind of I don't know if I'd say modern day Stone Cold, but like definitely in his promo, like that's the vibes I got. Like he sounded exactly like him. He kind of looked like a mix of Stone Cold and Eddie Kingston in the ring with his ring gear too, with the singlet and everything and the bandana. So from the little bit I saw, it looked like a pretty decent match. Could definitely see him team with the Briscoes, like y'all had mentioned as well. Any thoughts on that match, guys? Any other thoughts, I should say, since we already kind of talked about it?
I mean, it's not really much to write home about. It's Rampage, you know. There was no chance Moxley was losing that match. And as far as like the rest of the night goes, like there wasn't really much to write home about with this. It was pretty by the books as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, pretty straightforward in predictability. Sean, go ahead.
Rampage just starting to feel more and more to me like it's like a WWE main event type show. And I feel like that could be sooner rather than later problematic for them, considering it's a whole like live television slot. And I feel like they need to focus more of an effort on doing what they can to help like legitimize that product altogether.
Yeah, and we've had this conversation many times in the 6 episodes we've done now. You know, what could they do to make Rampage more appealing to people? You know, 1 hour is a very short period of time to fit in, you know, 3 or 4 matches. Especially with the bloated roster they have right now. I definitely think a 2-hour show is more suitable. I don't think
Maybe-
Friday is the right spot for that, or at least the time slot on Friday.
Maybe
'Cause
even a sort of a brand split.
yeah, maybe even that too. Just to give more people time on TV, because you know we see Mox on there all the time. Well, I wouldn't say Mox in particular. I'm just saying like the main guys we always see on there. They're not really pushing many of the younger stars on there like they started off to do. You know, we don't see the TNT title on there right now. I guess as I'm saying that, Jade Cargill just came out with the TBS belt, but we don't see those belts really being defended on there right now like they said they would. So yeah, there's a lot they could do. I don't think it's one thing that's really going to fix that product. I think there's multiple changes that are going to be needed for that to really be a beneficial sub show to Dynamite. Rich?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly feel like it's AEW Dark Elevation, AEW Dark. Like this can be put on YouTube, which is unfortunate because it is. And this issue is this was a live Rampage. Usually they pre-shoot it with Dynamite, and I don't know what the ratings were for this show, but that 9 o'clock slot is not a good slot. It's bland. I mean, if you're gonna do something with that show, and I know we've talked about it previously on this podcast, like, are you just gonna like amplify angles, or are you gonna give talent a chance? I don't know. It was just bland to me.
The last thing I'll say before Battle of the Belts is the July 29th. So not this most recent one, but the one that wasn't that 9 o'clock slot that Rich mentioned had the lowest rating of Rampage ever. I want to say the one with Punk had well over 1 million. And this one I want to say had in the 300,000s range. So that's a 2/3 or more drop off, like an over 66% drop off in less than a year, 11 months. So to me, that's a sign that either move the time or just axe the show if you don't want to give it an extra hour, because again, I don't know what good it's doing at this point. Battle of the Belts, Chad, let's get it.
Yep. So Battle of the Belts, pretty solid show from what I saw. I did get a chance to watch that live, so that was pretty cool. First match we had on there was Wardlow, the TNT champ, versus Jay Lethal. So we got to see Jay Lethal in 2 matches this week. Jay kind of gave Wardlow a little bit of a fight this week. It wasn't your standard Wardlow squash type of match, which I guess his last few have kind of been like that. I know, Rich, give me a thumbs down. I get it. Trying to think what I wanted to say. It was a decent match. You know, it was I guess kind of what you would expect out of that. And then there was some post-match altercations as well. George, you want to get into that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, overall, Battle of the Belts felt like a real snoozer to me. But as far as like the Wardlow match goes, yeah, it was cool to see him against Jay Lethal and actually have a bit of competition. But it seemed more like they're just setting stuff up for him for the future, possibly against Satnam Singh. Just because the issue I'm seeing with Wardlow is there's nobody legitimate to take that title off of him outside of like Miro. So unless you get somebody stepping into that scene, because you need like either a big bad guy to beat a big bad guy, or you need the sneakiest of sneaky heels to do something, or just somebody who can be an absolute creep about it and do it. And AEW does have people on that roster that could do it, depending on how you build them. Somebody like Sean Spears has the potential to be an absolutely dickish heel and, really find a way to, take Wardlow out with sneaky tactics. I don't think MJF would be the right guy to do it, even though there is a built-in feud there. I don't think it should happen. I think MJF needs to be in the main event scene. That's just my opinion there. But yeah, unless you can get somebody who can get a sneaky win off of Wardlow, or somebody who can absolutely beat him down, then I don't see him losing this title anytime soon, and it sort of creates a booking problem for AEW. But beyond that, again, like I said, this whole event just seemed like kind of a waste of time to me. With the exception of seeing Jamie Hayter. I'll always be about Jamie Hayter, and I am definitely drinking the Haterade.
I would say, I was going to add to what you're saying, who could legitimately beat Wardlow. Obviously we were talking about Hobbs in chat. Brian Cage, what are they doing with him? He's bitching about not getting an opportunity. He is a giant dude and he's very athletic. Speaking might not be there, but I mean, he's a big guy that could legitimately beat him.
He is a big guy.
Whether we
but
want
he's
to
not a
believe it
tall
or
guy.
not, he's
I'm
not
taller
the
than
guy.
him.
Okay, well, you're taller than me too, but
I feel like WWE will do him justice if he
Yeah.
was going there. Honestly,
you're probably right. They
I don't know if he'll
find a
pass
way.
the piss test on the way in, though, John. Allegedly,
Very
for
true.
Rich's sake, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly, yeah, because we never know. It's all allegedly.
Next match, Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter. Decent match again. I'm still dying to see Jamie Hayter win a belt, whether it's this belt or the TBS championship. George, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, this match was pretty good. It didn't feel so much like a coming out party for Jamie Hayter, but more of a hey, let's see what she's capable of kind of thing for Jamie Hayter. I think she has the potential to to stand with top talent, and hopefully she gets her time to shine. My only issue with this match right now is something that didn't come to light until after the fact. Sean Ross Sapp reporting this morning that Jamie Hayter may have broken her nose during this match, but did finish the match. So it's a little unclear as to when it happened. Personally, I think it might have actually happened at the finish, but when Rosa sat on her face. But I think if it did happen earlier and she did gut it out through, That's not a bonk. That was
Keep
legitimately
going,
what
keep going,
happened.
keep going.
If Nick
But-
Riccardi said it, it would be a bonk.
It would be a bonk.
I'm just pointing out the match flow here, not making a bad joke there, but no, because that the roll up at the end was a little rough. But yeah, if it did happen early in the match, props to Hater for gutting it out. And hopefully now, if it did happen, let her just kind of hide behind Britt for a little bit and get recovered, and then move on to doing whatever needs to happen. I think she eventually will get away from Britt. And I think we might end up seeing a title feud between the two of them, between Britt and Hater.
Rich, why don't you go next, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, I guess this was the somewhat coming out party for Jamie Hayter. She's a phenomenal athlete, and I do want to see that dissension between her and Britt Baker because it's been way too long, and I feel like she can get over on her own. She definitely has the talent. I would love for her to win one of the belts, whether it be TBS or the women's championship. I mean, probably next year. Let's see how this works throughout. But I'm excited for her. Definitely a project within the women's division, and it was a solid match. Again, I don't feel like Thunder Rosa's reign. It's getting the Hangman Adam Page treatment still, and yeah, get the belt on. Give it to Jade. Give her a 2-belt Jade. I don't know, something. That's my thought.
Very, very stale run so far. You're very right. Sean, go ahead.
I did not watch or did not get around to Battle of the Belts yet, but I just wanted to say Jamie Hayter is she really impressed me this week, at least on Dynamite. Just the way she moves in the ring, the way she sells, the way she executes, everything's like very professional and spot on and smooth. And it's unfortunate that this injury potentially happened. To follow up on what George was saying, I believe it was the brainbuster spot that she delivered on Thunder Rosa. As Thunder came down, her leg landed on Hayter's face. But I hope she recovers quickly and they begin to put one more woman into the main event scene for the title because they desperately need more contenders.
Drink the Haterade, Sean. Drink the Haterade.
I'm drinking it.
All right, and then our
Rich, you want to say our final
our
match,
last
bud?
match. I got it. It's Claudio and Takeshita. I said it right? Yeah. I always feel like I'm gonna say it wrong because it looks one way, but phonetically you don't see it the way it looks. So
It is if it looks right if you're a weeb.
which I'm not, so that makes a lot of sense. why I can't fucking
Exactly.
say it. So this is actually a really good match, and they had Regal on commentary as always for the BCC matches, and he was talking him up. I want to see him win a title match so bad, or just get like one big win in here before he goes back to Japan. It was a great match. That's all I can really say about it. George, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, I mean, Takeshita is a phenomenon. He's definitely connected with the fans, both in the ring and outside of the ring, which, it's something I was actually introduced to Takeshita through kind of an odd means. I actually saw him do a video with a YouTuber that I'm very familiar with, and who showed him the ropes and chopped him up real good. But Takeshita is a guy that he's most people don't realize that he's one of the top guys in DDT Pro. Not just a main event guy, but literally a former champion in DDT. He's the guy, so he's definitely got the credentials. As far as this match is concerned, there was no chance Claudio was losing this match, although God, I wish it happened because it would have been a very intriguing thing to happen. Because if Takeshita holds onto that belt and takes it back to DDT, that's something that interesting to happen. It would certainly create a lot of buzz. But I think the fact that he announced that he's leaving on August 20th to go back to Japan. there was no chance that he was winning this match, and especially because it's so early in Claudio's run, it would just do him a disservice to lose the belt now. So, but hopefully we get Takeshita back sooner than later. I hope that we can see him do something maybe at a Forbidden Door match. That would be an insane thing to happen. Especially somebody, Joey writing in chat, Okada Takeshita. Yes, shut up, take my money. I want that match. But yes, all the props to Takeshita. I want more. Give me more. Thank you so far for what you've given us.
Right on. Rich?
Yeah, phenomenal match. Claudio Takeshita, so great. It is a shame that one, he's going back to Japan. Two, he constantly loses to the stars of AEW, which Chad, I wish we could get that one win. But all in all, phenomenal match. I wish Claudio would have dropped it to Takeshita, but hey, hopefully there's a partnership with DDT and AEW in the future. It looks good in the future, but phenomenal match. But it was a very mid battle of the belts, as far as it just felt rushed.
Rushed and almost unnecessary. It's just kind of the thing, they just, instead of doing like a full-fledged pay-per-view, they throw in the mini shows here and there, kind of like how they brand like Dynamites every other week, like we were mentioning earlier. So still cool. We got to see some more action, on a Saturday. So but 3 matches, not a whole lot. So we'll move on to SmackDown review here real quick. I did not get to watch all of SmackDown. I did get to see some highlights. We had a surprise return. Joey, why don't you kick it off?
Do you want me to cover the surprise return or what I was going to mention first?
Well, why don't you bring up what you're going to mention first, and then we'll see how it plays out.
You got it. So I know Brian has to work tonight, but I was really hoping to get his opinion on this because Brian is probably amongst the group, I'd say the biggest Liv Morgan fan of us all. I don't know if anyone else here is a fan of hers. I'm so on her, but as Daniel Bryan, now Bryan Danielson, would say, the fans proved to be fickle as always because she was booed very audibly and loudly on SmackDown, which is in South Carolina, by the way. It's not like it's a Philadelphia, Chicago, a MSG. It was a smaller market, and they were booing her during her promo about how she won the match and is ready for her next job as the babyface champion. She even had to address the fans saying that you tapped out as she was talking about her win. So to me, hopefully with Triple H in charge, this signals either a huge character change or at least her not having to win matches that way to keep both people supposedly strong. Sean, do you have any comments on that, or do you want to pivot to a different SmackDown topic?
Well, different SmackDown topic, but honestly, Liv's. I don't know if that finish at SummerSlam really helped her all that much, considering she was already kind of like on the fence, probably with the fans and with the brass as champion material at the moment. Honestly, in my opinion, I'd probably have the belt go on to Baszler and have her take on Rousey at a later pay-per-view date. But I think my second favorite part of SmackDown last night started the show off, and that was Pat McAfee's little John Madden moment where he's basically covering every play that went down at SummerSlam that led up to him kicking Happy Corbin in the nuts, and his little parading around about it throughout the entire Happy Corbin Ricochet match.
They even had a yellow marker, very much like, again, John Madden. That was a great comparison. I didn't think of, Sean. So
I thought
shout
it
out
was
to you.
Absolutely hilarious.
John, you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So just going back to the Liv Morgan promo from Friday. Obviously you can tell the fans are booing her and stuff like that, but there's also something that happened during her promo. She swore, and she's supposed to be a baby face, and baby faces don't swear.
What did she say for those of us that haven't seen
I
SmackDown?
actually didn't catch it. They bleeped it out, so I don't know what she said.
She basically said that I appreciate y'all for calling me out on my shit.
Okay. Well, I think that's a big no-no, and maybe that's also a sign that she could be possibly turning real soon. But we'll see where that goes.
She had like a little damn it, stupid microphone. She had like a little like smirk, or like kind of like a chuckle almost away from the mic from what I could see. I did see something about that on Twitter. Everyone's like, "Ooh, is she turning?"
I think
That was
something
a little
else.
interesting.
I think something else with this too to keep in mind, that is a good point, John, is the fact that some little conversation points or talking points are changing now with Hunter in charge. For instance, Rowan dropped the hospital word tonight and not local medical facility. So I'd like to think that maybe Talent's getting a little more leeway with their promos, but yes, you are right. Liv saying a no word on TV is definitely not necessarily the same as hospital, but maybe they're getting a little more leeway. Chad, go ahead, bud.
And on top of that, she's like talking to the audience. She's not talking to someone. Just want to add that.
Yeah, like you had mentioned, they're backtracking a lot of Vince's rules and shit. Like they can say wrestler and stuff like that now. Like there's a whole article. I didn't read the whole thing, but just like little things like that. That they are changing. So we'll see. It's gonna take some time to really figure everything out, but trying to just see what else. Anybody else had anything important they wanted to bring up about SmackDown other than that?
Go Triple H.
All right, we'll take it.
All and pray.
Yes. So we
Fall
had
and pray.
had the return of Mr. Cross himself with his wife, Scarlett, basically indicating that he's going to be challenging Roman Reigns for one of his titles here in the near future. TikTok. Pretty unexpected because Cross was working for Control Your Narrative, right?
He was doing everything at New Japan. I want to say he's up with MLW. He just beat Davey Boy Smith Jr. at the Flair show. So he was quite busy, and he actually had to cancel, I believe, his upcoming shows because he signed. So yeah, he was a busy boy.
Yeah, so that was it's pretty interesting. I guess we'll see where he fits into the fold now. And see who else they bring back. I guess at this point, there's the memes of Triple H with the Infinity Gauntlet with all the people who've come back, and he was on it. So he's got room for one or two more probably here in the near future. Joey, go ahead.
One thing I'm curious to gauge the group's interest about with Cross, given that he is minus his hair growth, very similar to the character we saw in NXT compared to the gladiator weird leather man that we saw during his Raw debacle. And so I'm curious because in NXT, within basically 3 months, for those of you that didn't watch it, he was the NXT champion. And so to me, I don't want the same thing to happen with him on the main roster. No offense, he should not be pinning Roman. And in my opinion, I just don't know what their end goal is here with him going after Roman. It made a statement, but I don't know really what you do with him then if you're not going to have him win the title, which I don't want to do. So I'm curious if anyone has thoughts on what they do with Cross. George, go ahead.
Sorry, hold on a sec. So I think what they're planning to do with Cross is they're going to have a triple threat with him, Drew McIntyre, and Roman Reigns for one of the titles. And Cross will pin McIntyre to get that title out, or vice versa. Or McIntyre will pin him. Basically, they need to get the title off of Roman, not because of storyline reasons or merch reasons, but because the network wants it. The network's a little unhappy right now with WWE, USA Network, because they want the title featured more on Raw. And I think that doing this would be the way to get it off of Roman without Roman necessarily being involved.
Very nice.
All right.
Chad, do you have anything else about SmackDown you'd want to mention before we transition to Bobby?
No, I think that was it. Nothing else on my end. Yeah, we're gonna have Bobby talk about Impact here. We got a couple shows we're gonna be going to this weekend. Emergence, I believe. So Bobby, why don't you take it away, buddy?
Yeah, sure. Let me just run down the card for next week, guys. Let me start from the bottom here. I did not see this, but this is news to me. But Rocky Romero will take on. Oh wait, my bad. Either Rocky Romero or Mike Bailey will take on Jack Evans for the X Division Championship. So I'm assuming Rocky Romero and Mike Bailey, because Mike Bailey is the current champion. I'm assuming they're having a match at this coming Impact. We also got Chris Sabin and Kushida taking on Violent by Design, Joe Doring and Diener. We got Sami Callahan versus Steve Macklin. This should actually be a fun match. Steve Macklin, I feel like Impact has been doing a very good job on building this guy. If you guys don't know who Steve Macklin, I believe he was one of the Forgotten Sons over in NXT.
Steve Cutler was his name, yes. And
thank you, Joey. Yep. Steve Cutler. And dude, like over in NXT, he was a jabroni. I didn't even know who he was. But once he got to Impact, man, they've been doing a really good job on building this guy. And if anything, this might be a showcase match with him and Sami Callahan. I think Steve is gonna take the win on that one. Moving on with the card, we got the Bullet Club. All 5 guys: Ace Austin, Chris Bay, Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson, and Helikilo taking on Honor No More, Eddie Edwards, Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, PCO, and Vincent. Guys, for a good months now, these guys have been going at it. I hope the feud is over with, and I hope the Bullet Club takes the victory on that one. They added Bandito versus Ray Horace. I believe this is a AAA advertised matchup, so something a little bit different. This should be a fun match also. Can't go wrong with Lucha Libre style. We got the women's knockout. Oh, my bad. The Knockouts Tag Team Champion, Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie taking on Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo. This should be another fun women's match, guys. Chelsea Green and Deonna, they have a great chemistry on TV. I'm kind of pulling for them to win this match, but we'll see what goes on with that. And then we got Jordan Grace, internet's favorite social media person, taking on Mia Yim for the Impact Knockouts women's title. Should be a decent match. I feel like Impact is still pushing Jordan Grace. I feel like Jordan is going to take the W with that. And then in the main event, we got Josh Alexander defending the Impact World title against Alex Shelley. This is Alex Shelley's first world title shot in Impact history. He's never gotten a shot when he was there, part of TNA. Always doing tag team with Chris Sabin, part of the Motor City Machine Gun. So this is his opportunity, guys. So hopefully this is going to be a killer match. But unfortunately, I feel like Josh is going to carry the belt for their big show in October, Bound for Glory. That's just my thoughts. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on the show itself or what I just said here. Go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, I think the person I'm most looking forward to seeing in person for the first time, this is my first Impact show as well. I've been a huge Taya Valkyrie fan ever since Lucha Underground. And she's been really busy between NWA, I want to say MLW, she has a belt as well.
Correct.
And now with Impact. So she's somebody that I think didn't get a fair shake in NXT as Frankie Monet. She was just there for literally seemingly a cup of coffee.
Yep.
And so to see her and support her live and in person, somebody that I think really cares and gets it when it comes to wrestling, she's someone that I'm excited to see.
Cool.
George, who are you most excited to see?
Oh, sorry. I am not attending the event. So.
Okay. Sorry, I just saw your hands. That's why. Rich,
I left mine. I left it up. My bad.
You're good. Rich, go ahead, bud.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see Sami Callahan in the flesh. See really how crazy this dude is. But I'm excited to see him live in person.
I'm going to sub in for Brian here and just be overall excited about going to an Impact show. It's the first one for me. So kind of going in blind because I don't watch the regular programming either. So it should be really cool. I'm hoping we get to see Mike Bailey there because we saw him at a GCW show and he was fucking insane. He was really awesome to watch. So pulling for Speedball. Hopefully he's on the show.
Yeah, I feel like well, there's a high chance we'll get him. But it should be a fun match between him and Rocky Romero. I'm assuming for this coming Impact this week.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then the Knockouts Tag Team Championship. Deanna and Chelsea pulling for them. So should be a fun show. I'm excited to finally get to see one. So
cool, awesome, yeah. And again, it's my first show too. So yeah, everybody, let's be pumped for Impact Emergence. Friday, August 12th. We'll be there. We'll be doing the move. So let's move on. Let's go ahead and let's talk about a little bit of a chef kiss, right, everybody? Chef kiss.
Mwah!
So let's talk about Chef Kiss here. And Joey, let's start off with you. What you got this week, buddy?
So not to bring Bone to Pick into this, but Bob can vouch for me on this. I was going to shock the world and pick the OC opening match as my chef's kiss.
That's very
Wow.
And what does Chad Mikas do?
Chad,
First thing on the show, he just calls on me to give my thoughts on the OC match. So that was going to be my chef's kiss. Bob, can you please vouch for this? That was going to be chef's kiss.
Chad, this is very true. But Joey, I will give Chad this. He really wanted to know your opinion. He called you out right off the bat. So
that's fine.
it.
And I gave my opinion. But my pivoted chef's kiss.
He
I'm going back to Old Faithful NXT.
Of course.
So for those of you that don't watch, there is a character that's been repackaged called Giovanni Vinci. He used to be with Imperium. He was the one that was not called up as Fabian Eichner. His new character is essentially a classic arrogant pretty boy heel that he's like the finest guy in the world. Vinci, very Italian of him. And so in his entrance, he is a mixture of like a John Morrison style entrance with the slow motion, but instead it's like camera pictures being taken. So it like freezes on him for like 3 seconds, like a photo was just taken. This played into the show because Carmelo Hayes, the NXT North American champion, their mid-card belt, had an open challenge. Very weird of a heel to do that, but he said the next person in this ring with the ref is going to get a match with me. So Vinci comes out and starts to do his whole entrance. When the first or second picture is taken, in the corner of your eye, you see Nathan Frazier, a very young upstart babyface, sprinting behind him as he's posing to get to the ring first and officially get the match. So very silly, funny moment. And of course, Vinci is pissed and goes on commentary to sulk with Wade Baird, who of course takes his European heel brethren's side. Very funny. I thought it was just a good way to get as many guys involved as you could for a singles match to both of their characters in a later feud between Vinci and Fraser. Bob, what is your chef's kiss related to Impact?
Yeah, correct. I'll keep it with the Impact vibe or the Impact theme here, guys. On this week's Impact, we got to see PCO taking on Doc Gallows in the main event. They fought in a Derby City street fight. So another weapon match that I enjoyed this week. It was a fun match, guys. I'll try to do my best to depict the match. There was a scene in the match where what was it? It was PCO. He set up a couple chairs standing up, and then he put Doc Gallows on top. He laid him on top of the chairs. He went on top, and Doc Gallows was able to throw him off on top of the chairs, similar to how Aleister Black and Adam Cole from that one takeover where Adam Cole went back first on the chair standing up. Oh, brutal spot. But again,
Philadelphia, Bob, is what you're referring to.
Thank you. Yeah, similar spot, but again, there were 5 chairs in the ring. I think Cole only took it with 1 chair. So PCO went on top of the chairs, nasty spot. The finish of the match saw PCO destroying the canvas of the ring. He exposed the wooden planks of the ring, and I believe it was a chokeslam from the top rope. He gave Doc Gallows, and he broke the ring that way.
And he got back up. I just watched it.
Up. Yeah, all right. Yeah, thank you, Chad. He got back up, and I believe the actual finish was like a loaded glove with thumbtacks, and PCO did like a fist drop from the top. It looked shitty. I'll say that. The finish was shitty, but everything else in between was fun. It was a fun Derby City street fight. That was my chef kiss. But Joey, we did have a combo for this week. So let's go back to AEW. and it's Eddie Edwards, correct?
Eddie
Or
Edwards
Eddie-
is an Impact, but
My
Eddie
bad.
Kingston is who
Again,
we're talking
Eddie
about
Kingston.
now.
I'm in the, I'm
Man,
in the
last week
Impact
he's
zone.
talking about French kissing guys. This week he's changing companies. Bob, I don't know what you're putting in the pasta
Keep
this
drinking.
week, Bob, or the chili, but change it up for next week's Chef's Kiss. So Eddie Kingston is somebody really before the show even started that could have been a very frequent member of Chef's Kiss, especially during his feud with CM Punk with the promos they had. Something, and it was addressed briefly by Chad, but a little 90-second video into promo with, again, winks and nods to the audience that we all love, was the fact that Sami Guevara and Tay, by the way, less than a year after he proposed to his other girlfriend, but I won't spend too much time on that,
Such a heel.
got married, I believe, in Europe. And so there was a video saying, guess what, folks? Your favorite couple is not here this week because they're off getting married. And at first, when I heard the voice, Bob, I don't know if I was crazy. I almost thought for a second, is that William Regal doing commentary, which would make zero sense. But Bob, did you recognize the voice of this, I think, British guy doing the narration?
No, unfortunately, I did not catch that, Joey. Now, fellas, do you guys catch that? Anybody here?
I did listen to it, and I will say Joey is kind of correct. I thought it was Regal at first, but I have no
It's
fucking
some
clue.
Brit. I thought it was a great job, though, to really build up that we hate you heel vibe for Sami and Tay. And then all of a sudden we hear Eddie's voice, and he's even holding a mic in his ear to say, boys in the back, can we cut this? My gosh, this is a wrestling show. Why are we seeing this?
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes, congratulations, you're getting married. Newsflash, nobody cares. And then he goes on to his own
Partner.
stuff. Yeah, literally just 90 seconds again to build up the match for the pay-per-view. The contract's in the mail. Sign up, buddy. Don't be a coward. Oh, by the way, here's why we should hate you, because you're not coming to work because you're marrying this really hot girl that half the crowd and John Thompson in our group want to be with instead of you. So
got a
90
receipt coming.
seconds, and so much is accomplished in that 90 seconds. And it's a segment, not a match, which is the epitome of Chef's Kiss. Bob, anything to add about that Eddie Kingston, not Edwards, promo?
Yeah, Eddie Kingston here. I will say this. I don't know if I'm really interested in seeing Eddie Kingston and Sami at the next pay-per-view, guys. I don't know. Is it just me? What do you guys think?
What would
No.
you recommend Eddie do instead, Bob, then?
Oh, okay.
So he's on the card.
Man, I understand they had to pivot with Chris Jericho because I don't think we're gonna get CM Punk. Damn, Joey. Let me get back to you on that one. Again, I would say Chris, but again, I feel like they're gonna use Chris and Moxley for the pay-per-view. I feel like they're gonna do some type of bullshit this coming week. Yeah, let me get back to you on that one, Joey.
Sure. Anyone else have comments for our Chef's Kiss or to add their own before we go to Bone to Pick? George, I see your hand. Go ahead, sir.
All right. I just wanted to add on to the whole Eddie Kingston situation. And I want to bring it back to something I said earlier, because originally I had said I didn't want to see Chris Jericho versus Moxley. I will accept Chris Jericho versus Moxley on this condition, that Chris Jericho wins and then drops the title to Eddie Kingston at All Out.
That's interesting. That's an interesting thought there, George. Huh?
Good hot take. Good hot take.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna have to sit on that. Yeah. Maybe. Huh?
Eddie could definitely be, I think, like a Mankind Foley, hold it for a month. And
Yeah,
then lose
transitional
it.
champion.
Sean, do you have any other comments on Chef's Kiss?
Just one Chef's Kiss. Triple H. I know I haven't been on for the past couple of weeks, and there's been a couple weeks worth of WWE under his command, but damn, he's off to a strong start.
Very nice. Who's got some bones to pick? Rich, I know you do, bud.
Well, a recurring one, we already know that, Mr. Joliet's never gonna, come and face this brother right here, because you know who I am? I'm rich like the money. So you already know. You still owe my boy John an apology. You owe me an apology. That's going to be my recurring bone to pick until you respond to us. And it's probably not going to be until like 200 episodes when we're doing this, but that's okay. I'm patient. I can wait. We
You
got
know-
something coming for you.
To get his attention, we might have to actually tag him in the podcast.
We
We
should
might
also
actually
say who
have-
Tag!
Mr. Joliet is for the group. Who's Mr. Joliet, Rich?
Someone that calls himself a drink. Drink
Yes.
Robinson.
Not Orange Cassidy, but the last part of OJ is what I'll say.
Yes,
John?
yes. Juice Robinson. No, I'm not done.
Okay, go ahead. My bad.
I'm
Sorry.
not done. My other bone to pick is with you, AEW, All Elite Wrestling, with your damn gimmick matches. I am tired of your damn gimmick matches. I'm sick and tired. Why do we need a dumpster match? Why do we need a barbed wire match? Why do we have another coffin match? I'm sick and tired of your gimmick. PK, I love you. But bro, cut shit, as Jade says. I'm done.
Oh, I was gonna say that actually, Rich. I totally agree with you. There's too many given matches. Maybe that's why I've been kind of hovering over back to WWE. So I gotta say it. So far for the past couple weeks, 2 weeks now, Triple H has been making Raw so palatable. Each hour it doesn't feel like it's a long show. I mean, you guys already talked about, the triple threats. They had 2 of them, and then came down to Ciampa winning at the end. And now it's setting up for this Monday for Bobby Lashley versus Ciampa. But not only that, on SmackDown, I guess there's going to be a women's tag team championship match as well for this Monday. So hey,
Wonder
good
if we
stuff.
have some comebacks in that match, huh?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, but anyways, my second bone to pick is Rich, like the money. He kicked me off of the Zoom meeting.
What, did he
That's it.
really?
Yes,
did
he
he
did.
really?
Oh, he sure did.
100%.
How the hell did you do that? Oh my
You want to
god.
go? You want to go, John?
I guess we're booking it next week. Promo battle. These 2 fucks.
He wants a
You guys
taste.
are in it. You want to
You
taste
want
the
a
Rich?
taste?
You want to taste?
taste? You want to taste?
Fuck yeah. Sean, what do you got, buddy?
Oof. I've got several, so I'm going to try and go over them quickly. AEW related for the most part. Actually, all AEW related. Their lack of direction with storytelling and how everything just feels very short and abrupt. Like there's no more slow builds. Like I'm okay with like a quick feud built up like a couple weeks in advance, but there's nothing. It feels like the build up to All Out is becoming more and more abrupt because every week is like a special event on Dynamite for some reason. Their messy card building. I just don't understand how they stack segments together and stuff like that. I understand like they want fans to react at a strong start to the show, but it's like they oversaturate the beginning of the show with all the big moments and then end it off with lows. Gimmick matches, please stop. Please stop. I'm burnt out. I can't get through a single episode of Dynamite without someone trying to put someone through a table or just some special like over the top weird matches that no one's asking for. The AEW interim title altogether just feels like a placemat for Punk to return. I feel like during this time frame they could have spent building up like potential contenders, but it just feels like they're throwing people at Moxley. Just take them out and take them out and take them out until you get Punk. Undisputed Elite, I just feel like they've ruined Adam Cole for me for the most part. I don't know. It's just a lot to
He's
do.
eating a lot of losses for sure.
Yeah,
He's
like
very weak on
starting
compared
with
to
Orange
everybody else.
Cassidy, but it's continued since then. And then he's still trying to boast about being a top guy. It doesn't feel like you're the same guy that debuted at All Out last year. Picture in picture, I can't pay attention to it during picture in picture. Just give me a here's what you missed package after commercial break. My ADHD brain is just focused on the damn commercials. And the final one, and I'm just gonna make a quick graphic behind me.
While you're doing that, it's funny you said the picture in picture thing, and I think we brought this up last week that they actually did that on Raw last week.
Bring that man back.
Yes.
Bring him back,
Bring him
damn
back.
it. I miss him. I miss him. Pay him. Pay him, pay him, pay him. That's all.
Good stuff.
I got a bone to pick with someone that's clicking the pen, whoever you are. Anyways,
It's me.
George, go ahead, buddy.
All right, I'll make this kind of short and sweet. I do have 2 bones to pick. One Sean kind of already touched on here. So my first bone to pick is, fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. Shit, now I forgot what I was gonna say. I had it and I lost it because Sean derailed me. Fuck.
Yeah, that's what happens real easy.
Oh my god, it's been a long day, man. I'm fucking...
Was it picture in picture?
No, it wasn't the picture in picture.
Card building, gimmick matches, interim title.
The gimmick match thing, that was what was pissing me off. Yeah, it's not so much the gimmick match, but more so the gimmick events.
Yeah.
This upcoming Dynamite is Quake by the Lake. I think then we had previous to this, we had like Fighter Fest. Previous to that, it was fucking, whatever the fuck it was.
Fight for the Fallen.
Yeah, it's like, dude, come, I get it, but you don't have as many pay-per-views. We don't need to make every Dynamite a big deal like that. If you want to do a special event, great. Do a special event. Do it on a Saturday. It doesn't have to be a 4.5 hour pay-per-view. But a 2-hour special, I would be fine with. Make it matter, or if you're gonna do something like that, make Rampage matter. Make a 2-hour live Rampage with things that matter. If that's the issue here, where you need to you have to put these things out and you have to have these special events, do it elsewhere. It's such a pain in the ass. It's like, watching this and it's like, okay, you're trying to overhype this and you're overdoing the set pieces. Just because why? It's just annoying to me. Like, make Dynamite relevant to itself at this point, because at this point Dynamite isn't even Dynamite. It's whatever the heck they're doing every single week, and that's just kind of annoying. I don't remember what the hell my other bone to pick was now, because I can't remember, because now I got fucking derailed.
Sean had a lot of them. I honestly forgot mine too. I mean, you kind of nailed everything. I mentioned in the group chat earlier today, WWE's in like this upward vibe, and AEW's momentum is really not there right now. Everything's been very lackluster out of them. Cards have been shit. Dynamite's been shit mostly. Rampage just doesn't fucking matter. That's just an overall bone to pick for me. Like we were mentioning about Rampage, what they could do to fix that. At this point, just fucking cancel Rampage and put Ring of Honor on TV. And just give them that time slot. There's enough guys that deserve to be on TV or in matches for Ring of Honor too. I don't know. It's interesting how one thing changing, like Vince retiring, has like offset so much shit. Like, it's just a big deal right now, where there's a lot of excitement for WWE, and Tony hasn't really answered that challenge right now with Triple H stepping up. So I don't know. We need to see something big. It's really concerning to me is we don't really have anything confirmed for All Out right now, other than the Trios Championship that was announced 3 weeks ago now, and Eddie Kingston and Sammy Guevara. Those are the only 2 matches that we have any sort of clue on for All Out right now. So, fucking do something with the storylines, man. There's 3 weeks until All Out. Not even that, 2.5. Stop throwing random fucking guys into the title scene. We don't need to see Mox killing one-offs every week. Put Mox in regular singles matches throughout the week. Doesn't have to be for the title. Just give him something to do. I mean, we don't need a title match every day. And that's my gripe with the women's stuff too. We don't need to see Toni Storm pair with Thunder Rosa every Dynamite or Rampage. Give her fucking titles. Or,
That was
give
the
her a
fucking
single.
thing.
Give these champions singles matches. It doesn't have to be the longest match. Doesn't have to be a barn burner. I just don't want to see tag matches on every single match of a fucking card. I feel like that's all we get on Dynamite now is tag matches. 2-on-2, 3-on-3. The Jericho Appreciation Society against BCC or whoever the fuck. Yeah, it's aggravating because I had so much hope for this company and it's starting to dwindle. I'm not gonna lie. The momentum is not there for me right now.
Chad, you just reminded me of the thing I was gonna bitch about.
Go ahead, take it away.
All right, so my last bone to pick, and we'll get this done real quick because I know our editor wants us to wrap here. My bone to pick is that with those women's tag matches, and if you unless you are setting up for a potential either women's tag team title match somewhere down the line, or if you're going to have another women's tag team tournament like you did before, don't overdo this tag thing. It's just annoying. It doesn't help anything. And it's really devaluing, our women's champion. So that was just all I wanted to get out of the way really quick. All right. Couple of quick hits though, before we wrap up here. So we did mention this before, some promotions within AEW. I just want to touch on those really quick. Sanjay Dutt was promoted. He is now Vice President of Production and Creative Coordination. He'll basically be working on AEW storylines, is in all the workflow related to that, as well as mentoring new producers. QT Marshall was promoted to Vice President of Show and Creative Coordination. He'll be doing a lot of storyline stuff, character development, and event logistics, which I know we've been bitching about all podcast here. Pat Buck was promoted to Vice President of Talent Development. So he'll be a liaison between talent and production and oversee AEW's coaches, and putting input on matches and promos. So that's a big thing that AEW needed to address. Tony Schiavone was promoted to Senior Producer and Special Advisor to Talent. He'll be with the Talent Relations team, which I know has been a big sore spot with AEW recently. So and of course he brings tons of experience to that. So God bless him. Lastly was the signing of Madison Rain. She joins AEW as head coach of the women's division. And obviously her credentials speak to themselves. Multiple time women's world champion, over 15 years of experience in professional wrestling. The only other thing of note is Christopher Daniels is going to continue to serve as manager of talent relations. So he'll be in contact with AEW legal and talent resources. The other quick hit we have is a positive one, thankfully, for once. Sean Spears, who I mentioned earlier, he announced via his Twitter, and I believe it was on either his or his wife's Instagram, they are expecting a child. So congratulations to them. We wish all for a happy, healthy pregnancy and that the baby arrives safely. So other than that, I think we are going to go ahead and wrap up. I'll take it home if you guys don't mind.
Go ahead. How are you?
All right. So for everybody who is watching us here on Twitch, thank you for coming by. Drop a follow. It does help the channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe, slam that like button, and make sure you hit the bell notification so you get notified when we drop a new episode or new content. We do have other things coming, shorts, projects, wonderful fun things, so keep an eye on that. We will also drop links to the socials in the video description on YouTube. Make sure to check us out on Twitter at Do the Move Podcast, our Instagram. We got Instagram, we got Facebook. Apparently we have a Snapchat I'm not aware of. Hit us up. We'll go from there. But other than that, on behalf of everyone here at Do the Move Podcast, I invite you to go ahead and do the move and enjoy. Have a nice night.
Thanks, everybody. Do the move.
Do the move.
Do
Do the move.
Si se puede.
Love y'all. Catch y'all next week. Appreciate it.